Willie D. Live.
Donald Trump, your president. That guy. Family, Donald Trump has decided that he is going to grant a full and unconditional pardon to one of the biggest drug dealers that ever existed. This after he declared war against drug dealers and he was bombing them at his instructions. The military was knocking boats out of the water, totally destroying life and property. Yeah, just killing people left and right, saying, hey, man, we're going to stop this. They're bringing drugs into our country. And then he lets one of the biggest drug dealers in history off the hook. This is an article I found on CNN. Trump says he will pardon former Honduran president serving sentence in drug trafficking case. Before I even get into this, imagine if you were in a foreign country and you heard such and such says he will pardon former U.S. president serving sentence in drug trafficking case. Only in the U.S. do foreign dignitaries get arrested. Yeah, you can go and arrest a president from a foreign country and put him in jail in your country. Only in the U.S. is this possible. But U.S. presidents, no matter what they do, no matter what type of crime they're accused of committing, they're never brought to justice. Never. They never serve one day in prison. Never. They don't even go to jail. President Donald Trump said Friday he intends to grant a full and complete pardon to former Honduran President Juan Orlando Hernandez, a move that would erase a major U.S. drug trafficking conviction for a one-time U.S. ally who is currently serving a 45-year federal prison sentence. Remember, fam, I tell y'all all the time, all of America's enemies were once their friend. So anybody out there who considers America a friend, watch your back. That's including the citizens of the United States of America. I will be granting a full and complete pardon to former President Juan Orlando Hernandez, who has been, according to many people that I greatly respect, treated very harshly and unfairly, Trump announced on his Truth Social platform. This cannot be allowed to happen, especially now after Tito Asfura wins the election, when Honduras will be on its way to great political and financial success. Vote for Tito Asfura for president, and congratulations to Juan Orlando Hernandez on your upcoming pardon. President of Honduras from 2014 until 2022. Hernandez was sentenced last year and given an $8 million fine by a U.S. judge for drug trafficking offenses. So what did he do in particular? What is he accused of? Well, prosecutors had accused Hernandez of conspiring with drug cartels during his tenure as they moved more than 400 tons of cocaine through Honduras toward the United States. 400 tons of cocaine through Honduras towards the United States. In exchange, prosecutors said Hernandez received millions of dollars in bribes that he used to fuel his rise in Honduran politics. During his years in office, The Justice Department said Hernandez protected and enriched the drug traffickers in his inner circle. Uh, don't everybody do that? If they get a little money, they enrich the people in their circle. Well, most people do. Anyway, prosecutors cited his use of executive power to support extraditions to the U.S. of certain drug traffickers who threatened his grip on power while promising drug traffickers who paid him and followed his instructions that they would remain in Honduras. The president's announcement comes as his administration has focused in recent months on what it has said is a counter-drug operation in the Caribbean, with U.S. military activity ramping up there. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro's regime has been responding to the increase with its own show of force in the region. The prosecution of Hernandez mirrored the U.S. government's allegations against Maduro. Hernandez was accused and convicted of aiding drug trafficking cartels that are responsible for bringing deadly drugs to the U.S. By contrast, U.S. drug enforcement authorities say that many of the drug trafficking routes the Maduro regime enabled are aimed at European illicit markets. So, Trump shows this great display of military force to kill drug traffickers at sea. Y'all saw, blowing up boats left and right, just obliterating them, right? Because he wants to stop drugs from coming into the good old US of A. One of the greatest ways to stop drugs from coming into the good old US of A is? You know what one of the greatest ways? Reduce the desire for drugs. America has a healthy appetite for drugs. Americans love drugs. Yeah, Americans love drugs. And Americans are going to use drugs. And nobody's going to stop Americans from using drugs. Americans love drugs. They love narcotics. You can't do anything about it. So there was never a war on drugs, and there never will be a war on drugs. Now, there could be a war on thugs. There could be a war on us, but there's never been a war on drugs. Get that through your thick head. There's never been a war on drugs. There's been a war on us, right? There's been a war on people who take the drugs and, sell the drugs who didn't get permission to sell the drugs. You got to get permission to sell the drugs. You can't just be selling them drugs by yourself. You got to go through the proper channels. You got to go ask for permission. Mr. President, was wondering if I could bring a boat over here about once a week. What's in it for me? Glad you asked. Take a look at this Caribbean property. Mansion comes complete with servants and prostitutes. What do you think, Mr. President? It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. Family, this is all cap. This is all cap. He out here blowing up boats, talking about they are smuggling drugs. Make it make sense, fam. Make it make sense. I would say oil is the main objective for Venezuela. I would say oil. Yeah. See, yeah. So the president of the United States is going to pardon a former president of another country. We really need ethical and wise, respected leadership and a judiciary. I mean, like right now, the U.S. name is shot. It's shot. It's trash. I mean, the hypocrisy. They don't even try to lie to us and make it sound fly to us. They don't even do well, they do lie to us and try to make it sound fly to us, but it's just so obvious that it's lies. I mean, at least try to be creative with the lie, you know? So let me get this straight. So Trump, at the behest of Trump, the military performs airstrikes on boats allegedly on their way to America from Venezuela because Donald Trump is serious about stopping drugs from coming into our country. He has to get rid of these drugs. And these guys deserve everything they get. Blow them up, blow them out of the water, kill them all. Don't even think about it. Kill them. And now you have an opportunity where you have a foreign president who's accused of trafficking tons of drugs to the U.S. They already got him captive. He's already in prison. They already got him. Tried, convicted, done. Got him in jail, locked up. 45 years, safely put away. Corrupt and tore up from the floor up. He's just nothing. He's no good. Got him. 45 years securely settled in a U.S. prison. And with the stroke of a pen, Donnie says, "You're free to go." What do you think he's going to do once he gets out?